you doing? And welcome to another episode of Talking to Mod. Now, today's guest is a man that I had a few pictures of on my wall, and I'm not afraid to tell you. Not only that, he was a legend at a team that I love, Fulham, and later on he ended up being the manager as well. Very good friend of mine, Kit Symons. How are you, mate?
Very good, mate. Yeah, nice to see you.
That's true. I did actually have a photo of you. That we'll mention that team later on, the team that we ended up winning, quite a few, won the league with, and there's a picture of you. And I also had a nice photo of you when you were your manager of Fulham. So, yeah, sorry about that. I mean, I might as well tell you now. If it didn't come out now, it's going to come out later. But how are you, mate? All good?
Brilliant. Yeah, keeping well, ticking along, just enjoying life at the minute.
You enjoying the World Cup?
Yeah. I've got to say, I'm not as into it as maybe previous tournaments, but obviously Wales haven't qualified, so that's an obvious one for me. But slowly sort of watched the Dutch last night. Quite enjoyed sort of the second half of that game. So yeah, slowly getting into the tournament. I think
Germany, they looked a bit deadly last night as well.
They did, yeah.
Didn't really play
all due respect, how they're playing. So it was who put up a bit of a fight and obviously got it back to 1-1, which I think most people got quite excited about that, but it was never going to last really. But no, they looked sort of decent, Germany, on the day. But it's first game of the group is early doors yet.
Do you think it's coming home?
Not for me to say, mate, and don't. Oh, no.
That's the wrong person here.
Yeah, you're asking the wrong person.
Mate,
here.
My wife, ever since the World Cup's gone back on, all I'm saying, I wake up in the morning going, it's coming home. She fucking hates it, honestly, because last time when we got, or in the Euros, wasn't it? We were out in Greece, and the final, obviously, we played Spain in the Euros, didn't we? I'm sure we did. We lost to Spain, but for her, that whole tournament, it's coming home. It's coming. She fucking hated that, mate. But let's just touch up on that now. Obviously, you're watching the World Cup as a fan now, but there was a time when obviously you represented your country, which must have been probably one of the highest honours you can do in football. Not only that, you attended the World Cup and you attended the Euros as a coach or as an assistant manager. What was that like?
Yeah, incredible. I mean, biggest disappointment was missing out as a player the 94 World Cup where we had to beat Romania to go through and missed the penalty. Paul Bowden hit the bar for a penalty and Hadji scored for them and we just missed out. So that was a big disappointment. But then I've been really lucky. I've been to three major finals now with Wales. I was assistant for Wales all the way through qualification for 2016, and obviously I got the Fulham job full time, so I had to give up. We beat Belgium 1-0 at home in the June. Was my last game as assistant for Wales, and I became Fulham full-time manager. Get sacked as Fulham manager. Wales qualify, so I went out to 2016. But Paul Trollope, who I played with at Fulham as well, had taken my spot as assistant. Or taken the assistant's job. But I went out, I did all the opposition scouting and stuff for 2016, so that was brilliant. And then I went back in with Chris again afterwards, and we just missed out on qualifying for the World Cup. And then Pagey, I went in with Pagey when he took over from Ryan Giggs and went out for the 2020, 2021 Euros.
Was it
It was, yeah. So it was pushed back 1 year, wasn't it, because of COVID.
Aye.
So I went out to that, based in Azerbaijan, and then stayed on with Pagey with Wales, and we qualified for the World Cup in Qatar. Went out for that. So
what's that like though? Being out there, I mean, Qatar. Going out there with the country, that you're representing and that, but to be there, seeing that's like the grandest stage in football, really, isn't it? The World Cup. To be there. What a moment! How did you feel?
Yeah, it was brilliant and very, very proud. I mean, the story, the big story for Wales was the qualification. When we actually got there, it was sort of a disappointing tournament. But half of our players weren't match fit, weren't at the peak of their powers, sort of thing. So it was a bit of a struggle when we got there. But the real story was the qualification. It was incredible for the country and to be part of that is something I'm very proud of.
Oh, and the Welsh fans, I mean, they just adore the club. I mean, it's there to see. Whenever they're on the TV, you can hear them for 90 minutes. I mean, what was that like, just standing there listening to them?
Yeah, incredible. I mean, the pinnacle probably was 2016. I mean, that summer, I think most Welsh fans who are over in France will tell you that's like the best time of their lives. Bearing in mind these people got married and had kids and things like that. I think they put it up there, you know, as it was just an amazing summer, because obviously the first time we'd qualified for anything for a long, long time. But then just the feel was so good, and there was a brilliant connection with the players and the staff, and then the whole group and the supporters. It was fantastic times, and I think that's a summer that everyone will remember for a long, long time.
Never asked you these questions, but it's always something whenever I see you and whenever I chat to you, I've always had it on the tip of my tongue. Just how good was Gareth Bale?
Sort of ridiculously good. You'd see, I mean, almost sort of superhuman athleticism, as well as then ability mixed in with it. He was again, Gareth at the peak of his powers was just phenomenal, and just a joy to watch. And he was certainly glad you had him on your side.
Was he sort of head and shoulders above anyone else in training when it comes to that? Was he just ripping people apart, or did he tone it down a bit?
Yeah, no, he could do. Yeah, at times. I mean, he trained. He was like ultra professional, so his mind was always sort of on the game. So he'd work back from the game and do what he needed to get himself in peak physical condition for the game. But I mean, he was probably head and shoulders. Bearing in mind, we had people like Aaron Ramsey, who was a brilliant player as well. But he was probably slightly unfortunate that he was in an era with Gareth Bale. Otherwise, Aaron will be remembered as one of the Welsh greats, but and rightly so. But he was eclipsed by Gareth Bale and what he was capable of doing.
Talking about another Welsh wizard, I mean, obviously Fulham have got one in Harry Wilson. I mean, last season, I just thought he was, talking about head and shoulders, he was fantastic. Some of the goals he come up with season before, you know, he was capable of scoring the goal in the last minute and that, and nicking a few 3 points for us. I'll never forget when we were playing Brentford at the Cottage and we were 1-0 down, and he come on something like the 88th minute, 80, something ridiculous, and I thought, what's the point? Nothing's going to happen now. And he scored an equaliser in the 90th minute and then scored the winner in the 93rd. And I mean, since then, he's a hero in my eyes, but just how good of a player is he? Yeah,
brilliant. I mean, it was obviously back in the day with Chris gave me his Welsh debut as a 17-year-old. We played Belgium away in Brussels in a qualifier. And he came on for, I think, the last 15 minutes or something, Harry. At that time, he could have also played for England. So capping him made him sort of Welsh, and his allegiance was with us then. So it was like a really good move by Chris at the time to cap him, because now he's Wales' talisman sort of thing, and brilliant. And I thought his granddad won a massive bet as well. His granddad had a bet when Harry was born that he'd play for Wales before he was 18 or something. No way. And so Cookie putting him on for those 15 minutes, whatever it was. I think won Harry's granddad 200 grand or something. I don't know, some big bet. Yeah.
Wow. But if you still get in touch with him, could you mind like tapping him up and saying, listen, the mod here wants you to stay at Fulham for at least another season? Because, I mean, so many clubs are after him, and rightly so. I mean, you know yourself in football, you put in a good performance, you put in a good season, especially at a team like Fulham. When someone else comes snapping around, you're going to go. And I just think if we do lose him, I think that would be a massive, massive, massive loss for us.
I mean, he's had the season of his life, to be fair. And he's always sort of threatened to do those sort of numbers that he's done this season. You know, he's always had the capability to do it. But this season he has actually gone out and done it, and he's been brilliant. But I'll have a word, mate, but I'm not sure he's going to...
It's going to bung you a few quid, all right? But listen, that's enough talking about other players. I want to talk about you, Kit, you know, if you don't mind. Started your professional career at Portsmouth in the youth team, is that correct?
Yeah. So I was at Pompey started training there first at 11, and had a little look at a few other clubs, and then signed schoolboy for Portsmouth. Left from school, did my YTS down there. It was the old apprenticeship, was a 2-year YTS it was back then. And did that, and then got into the first team. Made my debut quite young, had a couple of years sort of scrapping around trying to get in the first team, and then Jim Smith came in as manager, and I started playing every game from then.
They've, whenever I've been down to Fratton Park watching Fulham play, I think at one point I went and saw Crawley playing a cup game down there. Their fans are mental, aren't they? Like throughout the whole 90 minutes, they got that geezer with a horn as well, isn't he? Do you know?
With a bell, Johnny Westwood. Yeah,
he
Johnny
changed
Westwood
his name, didn't he? To
Johnny
John
Portsmouth Club Westwood. Yeah,
that's great. Like, talk about dedication. I mean, if ever, when the wife says to me, you know, why do you care so much about result? Like when Fulham lost to Chelsea or something like this, why do you care so much? I say, let me tell you, there's a bloke out there who's changed his name to the club. So listen, it's a passion that, like, there's no other word for it, really, is there? I mean, but in Portsmouth, they're just a different breed. The fans, I think.
Pompey fans were brilliant, I got to say, and I mean, like Fratton Park was fantastic place to play. But my best memory from them was that we got that first, sort of my first full season really under Jim. We got to the semi-final of the FA Cup and played Liverpool at Highbury, and walking out before the game, and like all the Pompey fans were down the clock ends, and just as we came out, all the ticker tape just goes up in the air, and it was like the most incredible atmosphere. And one of the best atmosphere, if not the best I've ever experienced, like as a player, and that was Pompey Fair. Yeah, brilliant.
Do you think a club like that's a bit like a sleeping giant, deserves to be up at the top again?
I think the fans sort of deserve it. It's a big club. I mean, there's a lot of big clubs now as well. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think any club's got a divine right to be anywhere. You know, generally, sort of where you are for a reason. I mean, Pompey's had a lot of ups and downs, but it's a big club, and it's a fantastic club, and the support, as you touched on, is sort of like second to none, really. So that can never be questioned. I don't think so.
Then from Portsmouth to Manchester City, is that correct?
Yeah, so I was at Pompey. So my actual league debut, or league debut and my debut for Pompey were Alan Ball was manager of Portsmouth. And so my league debut was his last game. We lost 2-1 at Leicester, and he got sacked after the game, Bally. But then a few years later on, he's manager of Man City, and I played the first game of the season for Portsmouth, and I just got home that night after the game, and the phone rang. It was Bally. He'd been City were on pre-season because the Premier League started the following week. They just had the last pre-season game. We got beat 5-0 by Hearts, I think, up in Scotland. So he phoned me up. He said, "Listen, I want you to come up on Monday and sign, basically." And I was looking at leaving. My time was sort of up at Portsmouth after Jim had gone. Jim Smith had been sacked, so I was sort of ready to leave, really. And I knew I was going to go. And so, I went up to Main Road, Matt Bawley in the office, and that was it, signed.
We touched on it, you know, just before we started doing this podcast, but I mean, where Man City were there compared to where they are now, I mean, they're like one of the biggest clubs in the world. Could you ever have imagined that was ever going to happen when you were there?
No, not to this level. I mean, I was sort of struck by the size of the club. Back then, it was like huge. I come from Portsmouth, which we just spoke about. Pompey's a big club, and it's really well supported. But like the size of Man City, I mean, Pompey had their supporters doing, you know, the main supporters club, maybe 100 people. I'd go to branches like Prestwich and Whitefield for a branch of the Man City supporters club. There'd be 300-400 people there. It was like blew you away. It was ridiculous. It was that. So the size of the club sort of hit me straight away. But it was. Franny Lee was chairman then, and it was like financially the money wasn't being invested in the club anymore, and they were sort of looking to make cuts, if anything, and so it was sort of on the decline a little bit, which became apparent not long after I'd signed. But yeah, it's one of those things. But a massive club, and I mean, again, the fan base there was incredible, and even through had some tough times when I was there. The fans would turn up in huge numbers, and it almost became like a cult following. Almost like the worse the team got, the more the fans would turn out to prove that they're proper supporters. And, you know, you can't question that sort of support. And then, it's just delighted from now to have all the success. And like I say, it's deserved because they've been through some dark days and some tough times to get there. So I think it means that bit more then when you experience that.
I mean, I'm still waiting for Fulham to do something soon. I mean, the amount of times I've seen us down, up and down, and then in Division 2, Division 1. But, you know, I still remember that, just going off the topic for a bit, that Europa League, you know, that run, that lived long in my memory. And, you know, you said about it earlier with a Welsh fan saying, you know, for him that was better than like getting married and having his kid and that run under Roy Hodgson to go all the way through there. And we were dead and buried when we played Juventus. Do you remember that?
Well, I was doing the scouting, so I'd just gone back into the club that season, and so I was doing the European scouting. So I was doing the opposition for games. So obviously we lost the first leg against Juve, and Roy was don't even bother going to the second to the I think it was Hamburg, wasn't it next? So don't even bother going to watch them. And like obviously I did, and I'm getting feedback from what's happening at the Cottage, and we went 1-0 down as well. Right. So the turnaround for that was phenomenal. But like I say, I wasn't there because I think it was Hamburg or Wolfsburg. I can't remember which one I was at that the same night to watch the opposition sort of thing for the next round. But then to go all the way to the final, I mean, that was just a brilliant year. And
it's a fairy tale. Yeah, and the way it happened, I mean, we were dead and buried. I mean, I think, you correct me if I'm wrong, Dixon Atuhu got the away goal, didn't he, at Juventus? And I think it was a shot that was going out for a throw-in. And it took a massive deflection, gone in, and then what happened after that at the Cottage was just, no other word for it, pure magic, you know. But sorry to go off the subject there. It's just something I wanted to mention before I forgot. But we mentioned about fans and Man City. Of course, they've got a big following and that. Quite a few famous fans as well. And I mean, none more than probably the Oasis boys. Did you ever bump into them?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we used to go to quite a few of the concerts, and Gwigsy used to drink in the bar quite a lot. He'd come to Main Road and often have drinks with him in the bar after games. He was a top lad. But they did the concert at Main Road, so we all went to that. And I had loads of people up and barbecue around my house and stuff like this in the afternoon. Had a few beers, to be honest.
Done it.
Yeah, slightly. And then ended up like backstage after the concert was one of the boxes in Main Road. So the boys are all in there. Now Liam's off with Patsy Kensit at the time somewhere, but Noel's in there. So I go in with Nicky Summerby and Georgie Kincladze, and Noel goes, "Oh, Kit Symons," like, and I'm like, "No, Top Banana." I don't know where it came from. It just came out, Top Banana, and he sort of like looked at me and went, "Oh God, what have I said? What have I said?" And like, yeah, so that was it. Yeah, Top Banana, Noel Gallagher. But no, they were brilliant. And yeah, like I said, we used to go, big City fans. Obviously, we used to go to quite a few of the concerts. But Gwigsy was the main boy I used to see back then. Like, yeah, he did come to in the Players Bar. And he's a lovely fella.
Did you manage to catch any of the concerts last year? They did.
No, I didn't. Do you know what? After that Main Road concert for me, because it was Main Road and
that was it.
Was it
pinnacle?
And I didn't think anything could be as good as that. So I almost once something's at its peak, don't try and chase after it or chase it a little bit, you know. And I'm keep those, because I've got like brilliant memories still from that. And that was just fabulous concert, and the atmosphere and the fact it was at Main Road, everything was perfect, really. So it couldn't be beaten.
That was Liam wearing the Umbro training top for that, wasn't he? Yeah, iconic, mate, iconic. But I mean, you mentioning that, I feel exactly the same after them gigs last year, because I don't think any gig I'm going to go to now is ever going to top that. Like, it was like, I'm still mind blown. And whenever I see photos back, and let me tell you, I've got a few of them on my phone, it was, it's just like, yeah, how do you top that? I don't think you can. I don't think you can, mate. But I mean, obviously from Man City, 98, went to Fulham. Keegan signed you?
Yeah, so I got, I was leaving Man City, and I just had first child as well, so it was quite a big time in my life. And I was talking to Sheffield United, and for them, like I say, I would have probably stayed living where I was and just driven over the tops to get to Sheffield. Sheffield United were a league higher, so City I had 2 relegations in 3 years at Man City. Got relegated last day of the Premier League season, and then my third season, last day of that, we got relegated from the Championship. We smashed Stoke 5-2 away, but still ended up going down on goal difference, I think. So, yeah, tough times. But so I could have signed for Sheffield United, who were in the Championship, like a league higher. But then Chris Coleman phoned me up, who I played with Wales with the 18s and the full team for Wales. Cookie had just signed for Fulham and was captain. He phoned me up and said, "Mate, this I'm with Kevin. Can we speak to Kevin Keegan?" So he put Kevin on the phone. And Kevin was like, just give me the courtesy of coming down and talking to us. I know, I told him about Sheffield United, league higher. So I ended up going down, speaking to Kevin at Craven Cottage, and they offered me like less money than what I'd been offered at Sheffield United, and it was a league lower, but for some reason it just felt right. And I, in hindsight, it's the best thing I ever did probably, but he sold me this 5-year dream, Kevin, that the club would be in the Premier League within 5 years. And obviously we did it within 3.
Yeah.
So, like I say, it was, at the time, I'm going back and explaining to my wife that we've got to move house now. I'm signing for a league lower and for less money. It just sort of like, as I'm saying that, I'm like, what are you doing? It don't make sense. But it just felt right, and Fulham was really on the up then, and it went from strength to strength. That first year playing for Fulham under Keegan was probably my favourite year playing football, just for pure enjoyment. I think because I'd come from such tough times at Man City, 2 relegations in 3 years, that no one enjoyed that promotion more than me, trust me.
I'm right in saying in your first season at Fulham, you notched 11 goals as well. And I'm thinking to myself, is this the same? Is this the same player I'm thinking of? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I was scoring goals.
Had a goal in you, mate, didn't you?
Yeah. I scored in front of Michael Jackson one day as well, by the way. Yeah.
Was that when he come to the cottage with?
Yeah.
That is.
You've heard that one, obviously.
No.
Have you not?
No.
Oh, right, yeah. So we play Wigan at home, Fulham, and there's all the buzz before the game that Michael Jackson's coming to the game. So we were like, it's going to be like a look-alike or whatever and stuff. But anyway, we played a game, win 2-0. I scored my left foot in the Hammersmith ends, top corner. Look it up.
Don't worry about it.
So we win 2-0, come in after the game, and I've got a whack on my leg. So I'm sitting in the changing room, icing my leg. Everyone else, all the other boys are out on the pitch doing like a recovery, like a warm down. So I'm on my own in the changing room. Chairman walks in with Michael Jackson behind him. Michael Jackson goes to me, "Hey, great game." And I should have gone like, "Yeah, not bad," or Thriller or something like that, but I couldn't. I'm like,
top banana.
Michael Jackson put top banana. It's Michael Jackson. And I was like, like this. I'm thinking, it's Michael Jackson. And they walk through to like what was then the players' bar bit. And all the boys come in. I'm like, lads, you never guess what? I just met Michael Jackson. They're like, you never guess what? We've just ordered our picture taken on the pitch with our fired Michael Jackson. So we all got given a picture on Monday, Tuesday, whatever it was. I'm not in it. So I show my little girls as they're growing up because they love Michael Jackson. I'm like, look, Michael Jackson. That's your dad's team. And where are you, Dad? Well, yeah, I was icing me. I'm not in it. So they got not impressed at all. I met Michael Jackson. But yeah,
that is unbelievable.
Yeah, it was incredible. Yeah.
That's but that is mad though. Even when I remember when I took my wife to the ground and we had a Michael, she's like, "Why is there a Michael Jackson statue?" And she actually said, "He didn't play for you, did he, or something?" And I was like, "No, he
wasn't
didn't."
The greatest of statues, was it? Let's get
it was.
Right.
No, it weren't great, was it, mate? It weren't great at all. I think it's now in a. I might be wrong. I think it's in a museum, one of them footballing museums. Yeah. But do you know? Still to this day, the amount of people that attracted to come into the stadium and watch. There was actually. You had the statue there, and behind they used to do a little club shop on the like the Riverside stand bit, and there was Michael Jackson like little program things, Michael Jackson pen and paper, and I'm thinking, what? Yeah. Mental. But yeah, that's long gone now, mate. But it was I'll never forget that. Did he play for Fulham? She said, and I was like, no, I should have kept her going though. I went, mate, one of the best strikers you've ever seen. But that was crazy, man. But I mean, let's talk about your time at Fulham, and in particular that first season, because obviously you went there, scored 11 goals, and helped us get promoted in that season, which was some of the players you were playing about with in that team as well.
It was brilliant. It was a brilliant team put together, and Kevin, again, like I say, I came from having a tough time at Man City, and Kevin was just brilliant for me, Kevin Keegan, and just sort of let me play really and enjoy myself. And like I said, we were signing a lot of good players. It was a big sort of transitional time at the football club, but the players coming in, the bar kept sort of like just going up and up all the time, and just real good players. And it was great fun. Real good group of lads as well. In fact, Kevin, we didn't even have a training ground. We used to train at Bank of England. The club used to rent that. Before we bought Hotspur Park. And so we'd all have, in the dinner hall, we'd all have lunch, and then you have to walk through like a bar to go out. So we'd all pull up a chair, me, Chris Coleman, Simon Morgan, Pesh, people like that. pull up a chair, order a pot of tea and get some muffins and just sit around chatting. Otherwise, you'd have to go home and go shopping with my wives or whatever, and no one wanted that. So we'd all sit around. But we sort of liked each other's company as well. It was a real brilliant environment, great atmosphere. I say, even though it wasn't even our own training ground. And then Kevin would start walking past, and he'd go, there you go, engine room, running the club. And we sort of were. But he was like, he trusted us as senior pros. But we all knew very much he was in charge. He was the boss. But he sort of let us police it because Chris was captain and obviously real good captain and strong leader. And then, like I say, people like Simon Morgan around as well, good, proper Fulham people, good pros. And we had a good group. And then Kevin would start putting up a chair. Who's getting the muffins? We go, you are, Gaffer. I was like, oh, here we go, me again. He'd go and get them. And he'd just talk with us and find out, discuss about the training and just things in general. And every now and then, he would like implement something we'd said into the training program or training regime. And you're like, it's really powerful because he actually listened and took on board what he was saying. Not, let's say not everything, but little things every now and then. You think it was, so for me, there's brilliant like man management from him, Kevin. He was, and he said about me scoring 11 goals. He also knew how to keep your feet on the ground as well. So one day, I think I was on this run of score. I think I scored 5 in 10 or something stupid. So I'm like a bit cocky, having a great time. We're doing like a 3-team game. So Frank Sibley who took most of the coaching, was in the middle refereeing it. 2 teams are playing. My team's on the outside. So I'm just on the outside and Kevin's walking past and he's like, you're playing well, son. That's how I scored 5 goals in 10 games. You're playing well, son. You're playing well. I'm like, yeah, cheers, Gaffer. I suppose I am. Keeps walking past. He said, you're having a bit of a purple patch. I went, yeah, you could say that. Keeps going behind me. He said, I had a purple patch once. I went, did ya? Keeps walking. He went, yeah, mine lasted 15 years. And he just kept going. I'm like, what'd you say to that? He made him like European Footballer of the Year twice and like worldy player. So basically he's saying, you're doing all right, but keep your feet on the ground. You ain't done anything yet. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like pissing myself laughing. I told all the other boys and they were cracking up. But just a brilliant way of doing it.
Character. Do
you know what I mean? And like told me without telling me, you know, like I say, European Footballer of the Year twice. Come on, I've got a bit to do. I scored a couple of goals in like 3rd tier. So it's put it into perspective a little bit. And I ended up going on scoring 11. So it worked. But I thought for man management, I thought brilliant. You know, he's really, really good at that, Kevin.
And out of them 11 goals you scored, have you got a standout one? Well, the one that Fulham fans all talk about, and they have a go at me for, was that I scored the winner at Millwall, beat Millwall 1-0, and I scored quite late on. And they're like, what were you doing? We had to get back to the station after at Millwall having me just scored the winner for the away team. Like, so and also as my mate in goal, it's Tony Roberts was in goal. He's on loan at Millwall. So that was one I always remember scoring against him. Yeah. But yeah, no, I can't. I'm still in shock that I scored them all. Really, don't pretend like you're thinking there. You know exactly. You've probably watched them on YouTube a few times.
Mate, I never watched anything back. Like I say, I did score a left foot at the Hammersmith end the day Michael Jackson came. So that's probably the most memorable. Yeah.
I missed a penalty in front of the Hammersmith end once.
I do know. Yeah.
Were you in that?
Was that the first game?
Yeah. What the funniest thing was though, I think Brevitt, he handballed it. I don't know what. I didn't even realise he could still jump, and he's jumped up and he's tried to head it, and he's sort of hand of God, one of them, right? And who's the old Chelsea player? Jody Morris was there, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And he's picked the ball up, and I thought, not a chance a Chelsea player is going to score in front of the Hammersmith end, right? I've took the ball off him. I think Ryan, who sort of set the charity game up, he's like, Ben, what are you doing? What are you doing? I was like, don't worry about that, son. Get on this. He's like, no, he's taking it. I went, leave it to me, mate. And I've put it down. I think we had Sam Besant was in goal, wasn't it? Dave, his son, Dave Besant's boy, wasn't it? Yeah. And not a chance, mate. Anyway, to
be fair, he was still playing, Sam, wasn't he? He was.
Well, he definitely got a move after this save. I tell you, someone must have filmed it and put it on the internet, because I think after that he ended up going somewhere. But I mean, still to this day I have a laugh with him about it. But yeah, I was gutted that. And the old man didn't speak to me after that. But redeemed myself the year after. Davis, Sean Davis, he took a very theatrical dive in the box, and it was a clear dive all day long, and it was a penalty. And I've walked the other way, and Barry's just grabbed me and gone, "You're taking this." I'm like, I'm not, mate.
Exercise those demons, mate.
The thing is, right, I had a really good game in this one. Like, I'd done really well there in this game, and I was thinking, I've done all right here. Right? I've done everything apart from score. I'm thinking, no, I'm not taking this. And I remember putting the ball down. The thing is, this one was in front of the Putney end, right? So no one was there. But I'm thinking to myself, all of a sudden, my legs just went stiff. Like, and I couldn't physically walk. So how people, you know, like in these big major tournaments, go into a penalty shootout with all the fat, I couldn't walk, Kit. I'm not even joking you. I've watched the footage back, right? In my head, I thought I was running. Mate, I weren't even running. I was walking, and then I kicked it. Thankfully, the goalkeeper didn't dive. I think someone bunged him a few quid to say, look, just stay in the centre, mate. And I've managed to score. But for me, one of the best feelings in the world, mate. But, I mean, I couldn't do it in front of all them people. I don't think I could. I mean, my bottle was literally just standing up. I mean, there was a few thousand people for the charity game, but for some reason, my legs I couldn't walk. So God knows what it's like taking one in front of 50, 30, 40,000 people, mate.
Yeah, I didn't want really much of a penalty taker, but I'd end up taking one that first year at Portsmouth, my first full season. We got the semi-final. I took one in the replay then. We drew 1-1 at Highbury with Liverpool, and then 0-0 after extra time, so it went to pens. And I don't know why. I don't think I was meant to take one, because I'm not, I'm not a penalty taker. But Jim just came up to me after the game and said, "Had a brilliant game, son. Take a pen." I went, "All right," and he walked off quick before I changed my mind. So, yeah, I took the third one. It was Grobbelaar in goal, doing the old knees and that, Bruce, and I aimed to the right. He dived to the left, and it went in the middle.
Happy days.
Goal's a goal. Yeah. Well, there we are.
You touched up about a few characters Fulham had. I mean, I've been very lucky to have made friends with a lot of my heroes, yourself included, Kit. And some of the people we had at the club, mate, pure characters. I'll name a few of them. We had obviously your Mike Taylor, Barry Ailes, Rufus Brevitt, Sean Davis. Melville, as you've mentioned. Like, these were big personalities, big characters. Just what was it like, mate, being around that club?
Yeah, well, it was incredible, and it was just such a good time. Like I say, the first season under Kevin was incredible. The year with Brace, and then Tigana came in and completely revolutionised everything, changed the way we trained and prepared, and literally everything, and then brought in the likes of Louis Saha and John Collins, and you're like, wow, So it is. Like I say, that year under Keegan was my favourite playing, I think. But then the year under Tigana was just watching. Even when I was playing, I was like just standing at the back clapping half the time, because the boys were so good. They were. I mean, Louis Saha that season was as good as I've seen anyone over the course of a whole season. He was unplayable.
I still have that. I mean, I've watched them for many. I mean, I'm 35 now, Kit. I know I don't look it. But I remember that team that we got promotion to the Premier League, right? And I would have that as one of the greatest teams I've seen at the Cottage. And I mean, Sahar he was like, from a fan's point of view, watching him, it just looked like an absolute joke. He was head and shoulders, and I keep saying that, but he was, mate, he could have gone on, and he did go on, to a few bigger clubs. But I mean, he was incredible. What was he like in training? Yeah,
I mean, the first day, I think the first training session we came in, we're all obviously it's a new regime with John and stuff, but we were just looking at him going, wow. Because he'd been around a bit before, I think he's Mets, wasn't he? And then he'd been to Newcastle and stuff and on loan or whatever, and was injured, so he never really got going. So he came in sort of like a bit of a reputation. We're like, okay, let's have a look then. Well, just after the first training session, we were all like, we'll just get it and give it to him. Yeah. And he was like that good. But because he had literally everything. I mean, you look back at some of the footage, he'd take penalties with his right foot, and then he'd take a penalty with his left foot. You're like, make your mind up, mate. And I mean, he's phenomenal in the air. I've never seen anyone jump so high. Like an athlete. He was strong as an ox. So defenders would get tight, he'd roll them, and it was quick. So you're like, the boy's got everything. and that season, like I said, was the most complete performance I've seen from anyone over an entire season. It was like ridiculously good.
You talk about him being strong. I want to show you something. So I remember this was in the first charity game we played, right? You tell me, and don't just be on my side here and try and make me feel good, Kit. Like, you know,
Trust me, I won't. It's all right.
Thanks. Right, now I've looked at it from right. Hang on, this might not actually be the photo. So this is the photo I've got, right? So you tell me, right? It don't look like that. I've sort of given him the strong arm there and sort of gone on and won the ball. Be honest. What do you think?
It looks like a 50-50 challenge. I mean, he looks pretty steady on his feet, Louis, to be fair. I think balance-wise, there's only one winner in there.
Let me tell you something now, right?
That can't be the right photo, mate. Come
on. Let me tell you something now. So I come on, right? I was on the bench, right? Shock. I remember lining up. I was shaking everyone's hand, and I'm standing there, like I've got my shin pads on and that, and everyone's looked over and gone, "Mod, you were on the bench, mate." And I was thinking, "Oh, come on, mate, just let me play." He's like, "Don't worry, you'll be on after 10, 15 minutes." And the first thing that happened was someone flicked the ball on, and I can just see it in front of me. And as I'm running, Sahars just come right next to me. I thought, where's he come from, right? I thought, right, what do I do here? So I've tried to sort of give him, so on that, I'm sort of giving him a bit, right? And I've actually managed to touch the ball with my left foot, right? After that, he's just gone, "See you later." And I've ended up on my arse, mate. And I was like, that's ridiculous. But, got another one for you. Right? Didn't it look like I blocked one of his shots in that?
Yeah, I'll give you that.
You give me that? Yeah.
Is that Harry Bale's back there as well?
Yeah, you got Barry, Green, Adam Green. Remember him?
Yeah, no, that's it.
What's it? You'll see him. What's his name? Let me. Tell me who that one is. Remember him?
Stolskers.
That's it. Andre
yes,
Stolskers. Yes. He was on it, and I tell you what. So Louis lined this shot up, and I've just dangled a leg out, right. And I remember everyone looking at me, going, "Fair play, mate." I felt like I got hit by a truck, right. There's another photo. I didn't save this one though, and it was a hot day. If you remember, this day was sweltering, right. And I remember I've rolled my sleeves up, right. And there's a photo of me as I've rolled my sleeves up. I've looked across and the ball's just nestled in the top corner, and it was from Louis Sahar on the edge of the box. And everyone's looking at me going, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "It's hot, innit? I'm trying to roll my sleeves up." And it's just a picture of me looking, and the ball's nestled top corner. But I mean, even in a charity game, right? Of course, he ain't going to go in 100%. But mate, the glimpse I got to see of him was mental.
Yeah, he's so good. He was so. I say a lot of other good players were coming in as well. John Collins came in that season. Boa, who was phenomenal. Barry was incredible as well. I mean, and just them as a partnership. Then just
he's still doing a bit, Barry, isn't he?
Baz, yeah, he'll never stop, Barry.
I don't think he will. Like, I was actually quite surprised. Like, every time I speak to him, I'm like, "Where are you now?" He's like, obviously lower league and that. But I mean, I can't play for. I haven't kicked a ball for about 3 years, mate.
But we had the 25th anniversary dinner at the cottage the other week of that Tigana promotion, and Barry was there, and Fulham fans love him. They always did at the time, and still to this day, it was brilliant. I mean, everyone got a good reception, but sort of Baz especially. I say Louis was head and shoulders, but Barry was brilliant as well. He had a phenomenal time.
He notched up with a very clinical goal every now and then, but as you say, he is very well loved. I mean, even when he walks around the ground, they start at one end and then they go round to the other, and he's got about 20 pints in his hand. He is an absolute character though. But he's as I said, I think that's what. Listen, I'm not involved in football, Kit. I'm only seeing it from a fan's point of view. But I think a lot of the teams these days, they lack characters like that, like big personality characters. And as I said, I'm not putting words in your mouth or something, but I mean, you look back and see some of the socials the lads used to have all the time. You don't get nothing like that anymore, do you?
No, it's different times definitely. But yeah, we just enjoyed it. Like I say, that first season under Keegan, my favourite season playing football, we were out every week, without fail. But as a group all together, it was real tight knit, and the spirit and the camaraderie was exceptional. And it's, you know, I'm probably not drinking quite as much as we did then, maybe, but the togetherness, if you get that spirit still now, it's massive. Like I said, there's different ways you can forge it and do it, but back then it was normally around a couple of shandies midweek after a hard training session.
Training session, what finishes about 12? Pub by 12:30.
Quite often, yeah.
I went when you invited me down to the Motspur Park. There was a boozer right next to the club, wasn't there?
At the end, next to the station.
That's it. Yeah, we went in there for a bit. I think it was me, you, and Mark Pembridge come in with us.
Pembridge probably would have come with us, yeah. Martin Brennan.
Yeah, he come down.
Yeah, it's all my staff Reedy and that.
Yeah, I remember. I've just had a moment to myself then where I remember that because.
So we're talking. That was that when I was Fulham first team manager against Brighton. That's that photo, wasn't it?
Mate,
all them boys. That's all my staff. Yeah, Brennan and Pems.
We'll have to find it out for you and send it to you because I remember me and my dad got in early because we got told we were in one of these boxes, so we got there dead early, like before anyone else. And I remember in the photo the stadium's empty, and I think you just come out to have a look at the picture or something. Yeah. I was like, Kit, all right, and all right, boy. I thought I've gone over there. Bloke said you can't go down. I was like, it's my dad. I just said I've completely winged it, mate. 'Cause I thought, how can I say I just want to go and see Kit? It'd be like, nah, it's my old man down there. I'm like, all right. I went down there. I said, God, we got to get a photo, haven't we? And for me, I've actually touched up about that Brighton game. That was that for me in terms of memories for you as a manager. That one for me, that will live long. That game, the way it went because Darren Bent played for us under McGaff. I think, didn't he? Was he with us with...
was it McGaff or Yol?
McGaff or Yol, that was it. Yeah. And then he left. And I mean, I don't think we particularly... well, I'll say I don't think many fans really, like the bloke, put it that way. But, he seems like a decent bloke and that. Nothing to do with personality-wise, just I think it didn't really work out. I think it's safe to say at Fulham for him. Yeah. So then when he scored against us, he was very quick to... I think he actually ran to the halfway line or something, didn't it? I think that's the most he ran in that whole game.
Cupped his ears. Yeah, I remember that.
But do you think, like, for you as a manager, right? This is something I want to ask you now, right? How did that make you feel when you saw that? Like, did that make you think, right? I tell you what, we're going to turn this on now. I mean, I don't particularly think we were playing bad until that.
No. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things you got to be very careful doing that because it bites you on the arse more often than not, as it did for him that day, because then Hugo went and scored the winner for us.
Yeah.
So listen, if it's last kick of the game and you do it and you're pretty sure it's the win up, crack on, I suppose. But if you do it too early, it's likely to bite you on the arse, which luckily for us it did to him that day.
So I think they went in. Did they 0-0 at half time? Was it? And then I
can't remember. I think
they went 1-0. I know they definitely went 1-0 up. Yeah. And then I think Lass he scored. He took a deflection, didn't it? And then Hugo, great goal.
Yeah. And I can remember because, like, say, you were up there with all the Brighton fans, but I had some mates from my village who were up there as well. So at the end of the game, I'm turning around. We won 2-1 away from home against Brighton. I'm waving up with because I got a few mates up there. I knew you were up there with your dad and stuff. So, brilliant!
Mate,
those great moments.
How we got out of there, like I know. Listen, you know what some fans are like. They take it a little bit further than others. But I mean, when that winning goal went in, we couldn't control ourselves, mate. And I'm being serious. Like people were looking around, trying to say, "Get him out!" And we were in a box, right? And I'm thinking, "What are we doing?" But that was an unbelievable day, mate. Yeah. And it was an even better night. Can't really remember the night, but. It was
some good times, yeah.
But that's what it's all about, it's absolutely. Nice, that you can reflect, especially with your time at Fulham, and go, do you know what? Not only did I have some fantastic memories as a player, but even as you first time I got to know you was when you were with the under 18s. Was
I
it
think
first
just
the 21s?
18s and then just taking over the 21s? Yeah, when we first sort of met. Yeah, so but I mean, again, we spoke earlier because we'd had some tough times, really tough times with the club, and it had been horrible with the first team for a little while. So suddenly get a few good moments, and so I mean, I took over. We were rock bottom. We had 1 point from 7 games and stuff, and it wasn't in a good place at all. The football club. So to sort of improve it and put a bit of a smile on people's faces a little bit. Meant a lot. I mean, it was my club. I'd been there 3.5 years as a player. I'd been back in then scouting and doing the academy stuff, 18s, 21s, and then first team. So it had a lot of history with the club, and it meant a lot to me to be able to get it back on the right track and going in the right direction again. So, yeah, some good times.
It was, and especially I remember touching up about it earlier on before we came on. And shoes off if you love Fulham. Do you remember that?
I've no idea where that came from. I remember we beat Bolton like 5-0, I think, at the Cottage, and everyone's taking their shoes off and waving them in the air. I'm like, what are you doing, people? Where's this come from? Someone started it, but someone knows why.
Photoshopped a picture of you. I couldn't find it, right? Because you put your arms up in the air, right, when we won, and someone photoshopped a pair of Adidas Gazelles. You had one in this up. Yeah, it was.
I'd love to know who started it and why they started it.
It was random.
Like, wasn't it?
But you know what? It's moments like that. Like, I couldn't remember the game. Obviously, yourself, you could, or who we were playing.
I remember smashing Bolton. I'm sure they were doing an evening game. Yeah,
and it was definitely midweek. I'm sure it was.
And it was Dougie Freeman was manager of Bolton at the time, and it was his last game. I think he got sacked after the game.
It's all ringing a bell, but I mean, that was just complete. I'm sure you're right there, but that was just mental. Like, you just looked up in the air and people. It's crazy.
Yeah, shoes off if you love Fulham. We're like, what? Why?
But going back, what was it like? So you met up with a lot of the lads recently at the Cottage, right? Was that the first time you met the gaffer again for a long time, or did you?
So obviously, so he obviously left the club. And Chris took over as manager then. So I'd already gone by then. I was at Palace by then. But that was the first time he'd been back since he left Tigana. So 25 years or 23 years, whatever it was. First time since he'd actually come back. So it was good, quite an emotional night for him. He still looked the same. Still had the toothpick going.
He looked really well.
Toothpick, he did. Yeah. So. Yeah, it was quite an emotional night for him, and he was so well thought of by the fans stuff like that. And
he's definitely someone I mean, whenever as I mentioned about that team a minute ago, I'd have that as one of the best ones I've seen at the Cottage. But in terms of managers, of course, you put Roy up there. You can argue Silva as well for what he's done with Fulham. But I mean, Tigana, he was, if not for what he did, how cool that geezer was. The aura he had, trench coat, toothpick. Why I
remember, like, they spoke about it on the night of the Blackburn game when we beat Blackburn away, and he was always, like I say, so reserved and so cool and toothpicking them. This night he's running down the touchline.
When Davis,
you're like, wow, where's this come from? Because we never saw that before from him,
mate.
But it was all the game had been built up. You know, Graham, Souness had gone. Listen, Fulham might be top, but we're the best team. I'm convinced we're the best team in the league, and all. So it's sort of set up nicely, and then. Obviously, Ruthless gets sent off. We're 1-0 down. Ruth gets sent off. We're like, oh, here we go.
He says, every time I ever see him, he went, no, that we planned to do that. We planned to. I was like, mate, you've had a mare. Let's be honest.
But and obviously, you know,
rest is history, isn't it?
He scores a winner, yeah.
That game as well.
Times, yeah.
That goal definitely lives long in my. That game, Blackburn away, lives long with me, mate, in my memory, and especially I can still see it today. Davis runs into the corner, does that little dance he does, which outrageous, wasn't it? And then Tigana running up is with that like that. As a Fulham fan, you know, memories like that you'll never forget. Never forget.
It's brilliant. Yeah, it's incredible night. Yeah, and just great times.
And then obviously, let's talk a little bit about your time, not as a player, but as a coach or as an assistant. You went to Sunderland at one point with Cookie, am I right?
Yeah, well, I did all the. I was at Fulham doing the 18s, and Cookie phoned me up about taking over the Welsh job initially. So would I go in and help him as assistant? So I did that back when I was doing the 18s at Fulham, and then was part-time assistant with Wales as well. Obviously, Chris took over from Gary Speed, so those were sort of really difficult times. He was our mate, Gaz. Yeah. So so I went. But first of all, I mean, I'd done a bit at Palace before that. I was player assistant. I was player caretaker manager at Crystal Palace initially, my first taste of it, and then player assistant with Dowie. We won the playoffs in Cardiff, beat West Ham to get the Premier League. Became assistant with Palace. So I'd been into coaching. I've been assistant with Garrett Williams then at Colchester for a little spell, and whilst doing the Welsh job all at this time as well. So I'd had a bit of a taste with it, and then Chris then wanted to go to Sunderland, so he left Wales. So I'd been Fulham manager, left Wales, I had to give it up full time in 2015. Went back in then 2016 after the Euros with Wales, and then was doing all these other things. Then went back into Fulham doing the scouting and academy stuff, and then under 18s with Gary Bazil. I was helping Gaz, took over there. Then the under 21s, Fulham, and then so I'd done, and then second stint with Wales. We just missed out on the World Cup, let's say, and Christian said one day, I'm taking a job. Do you want to come? Yeah, okay. And it was Sunderland. So it was a big ask and a tough gig. Rock bottom of the Championship. And obviously it didn't go as we would have wanted, but brilliant club and some great fans as well. So I'm delighted to see them doing as well as they are now. Do you know what I mean? But again, it's a bit like the Man City thing, massive club, but it had to almost bottom out first before it could come back up. And but I'm delighted to see them doing so well now as well. But then, went with Chris Sunderland, and we went to China, had a year in China, which was an incredible experience. And then 18 months in Athens, waiting for a Tromitos, which I absolutely loved as well. So we have had some brilliant times, been very lucky.
How did you adapt to a different culture? Like, obviously, you're going to China. Did you ever...
What, Sunderland? Is that was... Well, Sunderland was probably as difficult as China. It was like, obviously, it's so far away, but it's probably my favourite place I've ever lived. I had a place in Tynemouth, right on the beach, and it was absolutely beautiful. It was stunning. So we knew it was going to be tough. Like, as soon as I went to Sunderland, I knew it was going to be a big ask and stuff. But I didn't realise the area was as beautiful as it was. There was like some beautiful countryside as well inland, but that coastline is incredible. And I had a flat overlooking King Edward's Bay, like in Tynemouth. Best place I've ever lived in my life. It was phenomenal. Yeah, incredible. So that was, I didn't expect that, and that was brilliant. But like I say, it was a tough gig. But then we went off to China, huge culture shock as well. But we went, a group of us. So I went with Chris, was the manager, and then Tony Roberts, goalkeeping coach, Adam Owen, Harry, who's now does all the analysis for UEFA now and FIFA. We had a really good group of us, and we all said we're going to really embrace it and take it all on and enjoy the experience no matter what. And we did. We loved it. We absolutely loved it, and it was it was great to do. We stayed for a year. We would have easily stayed longer, but circumstances as they are in football went against us a little bit. So we got the bullet, and then ended up in Greece.
Were you sort of trying to learn the language as well? Or is that something?
Little bits, yeah. So a few words here and there. But what we were really conscious of, because it was the league was basically built on foreign players. You could have 5 foreign players within your squad, and they were the money earners. That's where all the budget went. It was, but then obviously you had the majority of players were local Chinese players, so they were almost treated, I think, a lot of clubs as second class citizens playing for their own clubs in their own league. You're like, so we were straight away, well, that's not right. So all the presentations, so most clubs did their presentations in English for the foreign players from wherever they might have been from, and then it was translated. So we're like, well, we're gonna do it split, because it's just, our local players are really, really important, and we wanted to create the environment and the right sort of atmosphere, really. So we did everything on a split screen, so it was in Mandarin and then also in English.
With you.
And then we had French speakers, and some had to be translated for them and stuff as well a little bit. We had people like Mascherano was with us when we first went there. He was top boy, fantastic. But we really got a good environment, but we made all the players, everyone, feel valued, and that was our sort of mission and we were told when we went in, we took over from Pellegrini, and we were told it was quite a difficult group of players, almost like the the Chinese equivalent of the Galacticos. They were like some big hitters, some difficult characters, but they were brilliant with us, I got to say. And the change room was really good. Which big part we helped create the right environment for that to be so. And it was great, and I thoroughly loved it. But it was a different. But we're going into their backyard. We've got to adapt to them, not expect them
not
to
the other
way round.
Yeah.
So we were really conscious of that and made a big effort. Also with the local staff as well, with the Chinese staff, because it's a real hierarchy and so we'd sit on a table having just a cup of coffee or a bit of lunch, and a lot of the other staff couldn't sit with us because of the hierarchical thing, and we're like, fuck that, get over here, So we had to be careful because we didn't want to get them into trouble, rot the boat. But we had a translator who was like, I still speak to him now quite regularly, top lad, who was like, couldn't do enough for us. He was brilliant, and he was a mate, so he's working for us and stuff, whatever. But he was a mate as well. Became a friend, and the drivers who took us everywhere, they'd drop us off, and we'd like park up and get yourself in for a beer with us or whatever, and something to eat and stuff. Because everyone, we were very much of the mindset. Listen, we're all in this together. We need their help as well. You want the local guys, being players or staff, to be on board with you, to give you a bit of heads up and a bit of a chance to be successful. So, and that's the way Chris had always worked, and so we tried to bring everyone together, and it was really good. And like I said, we just embraced the whole thing and loved it. Yeah.
You reckon you got one more gig in you, or is that you now? You can never. I suppose you can never say never. Can
never
you?
Say never, but it'd have to be. I mean, the problem is I've had so many really good times, and I've seen good, and I know what good looks like. And a lot of jobs you're like almost set up for failure. And I'm like, well, why? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go in somewhere I don't think I've got a real good chance of being success. Now, obviously, successful is not necessarily winning the league and winning.
Yeah.
Success can be like make a big improvement in this group, but then that's got to be recognised by the ownership. And football's becoming increasingly difficult for sort of like realistic outcomes of what success looks like. So yeah. So never say never, but at the moment I pick and choose what I do. I do a few little bits and bobs, and I'm pretty chilled and quite relaxed and just enjoying my time.
Well, listen, you never know when that phone's going to ring, do you, mate? Eh? But all I can say is, thank you so much for coming down here today. I've really enjoyed, obviously, one, seeing you as a friend, but two, to just get to know a bit more about the background and, hear some of them stories. So thank you very much for coming down.
Brilliant. Anytime, mate. Anytime, that. Great to see you.
But if you do want the Fulham job, you can be my connection for getting tickets, all right?
Right, no problem. Give me a shout.
Thank you very much, Kit.